make sure all our cameras are working. And we're ready to go. All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. First time you're joining us. Glad you could be here. The way this works, if you don't know how it works, I talk for 24 minutes. And whatever platform you're on, write down any questions you might have, any health questions. At the break, I'm going to turn to John. John's going to read me your questions. I don't know who you are, so it's okay. Don't be embarrassed or anything. Whatever question is, I'll answer your questions, and then we'll do another 24-minute segment, and then I'll answer again. So I do appreciate you being here. If you would put in hashtag where you're listening from, because we have people listening from all over the world. I always get a kick out of that. So, hashtag, I don't know, New Jersey, hashtag Guam, whatever it is. And that's how the game is played. So I talk for 24 minutes, I answer your questions, and I do it again. So whenever you're ready, John, I am ready. All right. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I'm glad you're with me today. What we're going to talk about today is fast food. And I've never really done a whole show on just fast food, but I really want to because it's the reason why so many people are sick. Now, I've been in practice 40 years. I've missed a half a day of work in 40 years. And I've seen thousands, maybe tens of thousands of patients. I've never even kept count, but I've seen a lot of patients in my day. And so many times people come to us for neck pain, back pain, liver issues, digestive issues, memory issues. I had a patient just the other day, and he had a stroke, and he's my age. And he had a stroke and back pain, and they want to do surgery on him. He says, Doc, everyone I talk to, even other surgeons, say, go see you. You're the guy. If anybody can prevent me from having surgery, you're the guy that can do it. So we have a lot of patients come in with a lot of different problems, but every patient that comes in, we do a nutrition workup on. And that's something I don't know anybody does, certainly not in the health field that I'm aware of. But I always laugh because patients say things like, I eat pretty good, Doc. And then I look at their diet and I go, oof, wow. You have had a stroke. You had another patient. I had prostate cancer, another patient with liver cancer, another patient with dementia. And I'm looking at their diets going, yeah, your diet is a key player as to why you have a lot of these problems. If it's not the cause, it's a cause. And so diet is key. And the nice part about diet is this is the one thing you can control. I can't control the fact you got in a car accident. I can't control the fact you have a genetic predisposition to having a hemorrhagic stroke. You can control what you put in your mouth. And so you have to take a little responsibility for this. I'll coach you, but you're the one putting that fork in your mouth. Now, last week, we talked about polyunsaturated fats. If you didn't catch that show, it's on my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We archive all our shows there. Really good show. Because we talked about how omega-6 fatty acids, specifically linoleic acid, it's related to every disease known to man. It's an inflammatory component. It's so toxic to the cells. It attacks the mitochondria in the cells. Cells can't produce energy. Real serious stuff going on with these vegetable oils, corn oil, canola oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, the dangerous vegetable oils that are pretty much everywhere. And so we talked about that, and this kind of parlays into today into that's the only oil that's being used in fast foods, as far as I know. They're cheap, they're toxic, and they're increasing our risk of disease. But what else is going on in fast food? Fast food is easy. Used to be cheap. Not even cheap anymore. I remember I went to lunch the other day with some friend of mine, and she wanted to go to Olive Garden. Went to Olive Garden, soup and salad, $10. And she said, you can't get fast food for $10 anymore. Now, I don't eat fast food, so I didn't know that. So I really started thinking about it, and I went, oh, interesting. So I started looking at prices. That sit-down restaurants now are just as expensive as fast food places in many cases. So there's high amounts of this linoleic acid. That's the primary reason why processed foods are so bad for your health. But, there's other things in there as well. How about veterinary drugs? Drugs that they give to animals. Now, why would veterinary drugs be in food? How about antibiotics, hormones, heavy metals? They combine with food that is severely deficient in nutrition. So it's very low nutrition, very high in antibiotics, hormones, heavy metals, toxicities. And so it's the perfect storm to set up an environment where disease can grow. And yet you're doing it, many of you, every single day. Now, we're going to talk about better choices too, so don't worry about that. So there's a group called Moms Across America, and they submitted food samples from 10 fast food restaurants to the Health Research Institute, and that's a nonprofit laboratory that tests foods for nutrient contents, and they were looking for contaminants and toxins. Each food sample was tested for the presence of 104 of different common veterinary drugs and hormones. Now, why would veterinary drugs be in your food? Well, you're eating animals. You're eating cows and chickens and pigs. And so these animals get these drugs. When they die and you eat their flesh, you're getting these drugs in you. So this isn't all surprising, considered that most food chain restaurants rely on beef and chicken from something called concentrated animal feeding operations, CAFOs. So you might see a picture of cheese in the grocery store. And it's a picture of a cow out in a field with a little wooden fence and a rooster up on the fence, and the sun is rising. That has nothing to do with what that cow's life is really like. So these CAFOs, concentrated animal feeding operations, are basically just mills. We want to get the animals fat as we can, as quick as we can, and then slaughter them. And that's it. That's a business. That's how the business works. You sell it by the pound. You want to get them fat and slaughter them fast. And so many times antibiotics, steroids, chemicals are given to these animals to stop or help prevent the spread of disease. It doesn't stop it. It just helps prevent it. So this Mothers Across America, their statement was, due to large industry-confined animal feeding operations, which include extremely close quarters, unsanitary spaces, high incidence of disease, most of America's non-organic meat comes from livestock that's heavily treated with antibiotics, growth hormones, anti-parasitic chemicals as well. So these animals are basically just trying to be kept alive until we can slaughter them. Because ironically, you can kill it and serve it, but you can't serve it if it dies first. That's how the animal game is played. So they're loaded with these toxic chemicals, and you're eating them. And I'm worried because we have food delivery services now. And I'm amazed how many people use these food delivery services for fast food. And they're paying almost double the price to have it delivered to their house. And they're getting toxic food delivered to their house for twice the price as if they went out and got it themselves. It's convenient. I understand that. I've used them. But I use them for restaurants, like real restaurants, not toxic chemical food restaurants. Now, I don't know of any restaurants that aren't using bad oils. They're not using corn oil, cottonseed oil, peanut oil, things like that. They all do. But if you can make your diet consist of very small amounts of that, your body can process these bad oils. When it overwhelms the liver, that's when you start to have the problem. So, Mothers Across America, they sent out these samples to get them tested. 6 of the 10 fast food samples contain veterinary antibiotics, which were not approved for human use and can cause severe harm. That statement alone should scare the heck out of you. And I won't list the restaurants because I'm not going to give them a free plug. And there are acceptable daily levels of a lot of these toxic chemicals, which I always find funny because you need 0 of it. There's acceptable levels of mercury. You need 0 mercury in your diet. Lead, cadmium, glyphosate, weed killer. There's acceptable levels. Rat feces. There's acceptable levels of rat feces in black pepper and chocolate and hot dogs. But I understand. It's not perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. But these have 0 goodness or use in the human body. One of the ones that they use, side effects include anorexia, diarrhea, depression, ataxia, which is hard to walk, a degeneration of heart and skeletal muscles, necrosis, which is tissues dying, and, of course, death. And yet it's in, what was the number I said, 7 out of 10? And you're eating it every single day. 6 out of 10, I correct myself. 6 out of 10, and you're eating this stuff every single day. Moms Across America is gravely concerned about the population, especially children, unknowingly eating unprescribed antibiotics, livestock antibiotics, and even at low levels, consistently because of the potential damage to the microbiome, the bacteria in your colon. So if I take an antibiotic, let's assume I have a tooth infection, I have a fever, and the doctor gives me antibiotics, and I take them. It kills off the good bacteria, but also kills off the bad bacteria. So bad bacteria die, I start to feel good. Great, it worked. And I'm not against antibiotics. Please understand this. But I also killed off the good bacteria. Good bacteria help me digest food. They help build my immune system. They protect me against invaders. They help build neurotransmitters in the brain. And so I have these good bacteria getting killed off. Now I wiped out one problem, I created another. That's why smart doctors will tell you if you're taking antibiotics, you should also be taking probiotics. Probiotics are good bacteria. And a really smart doctor is going to tell you to take prebiotics as well. Prebiotics feed the good bacteria, feed the probiotics so that they can grow and multiply and kind of recolonate your body. So if you take antibiotics, you're going to have problems. If you're eating commercially grown animals, you're eating antibiotics. Low doses, but it's cumulative. And that scares me. Moms Across America, we question if the side effects of these medications in dogs and horses, leaving their hind legs dysfunctional, might be related to millions of America presenting restless leg syndrome and neuropathy, which has gone up in the past several years. So there's a correlation between the use of these antibiotics and what they can do, or these drugs, and increase in things like restless leg syndrome and neuropathy. Now, it's not a causation. Correlation means this happened and this happened. Now, did it cause it? We don't know, but it's certainly worth looking into. And that's why I always err on the side of caution. I post every single day on social media. And if you're not following me on social media, by the way, you should, because we post 1 little minute posts every single day. Little tidbits, little health tips. And you can watch them or not. You can skip right over them if it's in your feed. We put the long version on YouTube. So if you want the short version, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You want the long version, go to YouTube. And you could listen to the whole thing. And a lot of people will watch the short version and make some snide comment, because I don't know if you've ever posted anything on social media, but there's a lot of idiots out there. And I say, okay, you're making a comment without information. I always say information without emotion. Let's get more information. And one guy was arguing with me because I said statin drugs also reduce your body's ability to produce CoQ10. And he said, well, the research is mixed on that. I said, okay, so is there any harm in taking coenzyme Q10 if you're on statin drugs? No. Okay. Are there other benefits to CoQ10 aside from just helping the mitochondria generate electricity? Yes. So there's no harm. It's relatively inexpensive. And we know that if you take statin drugs, it's going to affect your body's ability to utilize CoQ10. And so I thought about that, and I thought, why is this guy arguing? It's a very safe, inexpensive, prophylactic measure to take. I want you to think like that. What's the best choice when it comes to your health? What's the best choice with everything? If I have back pain, what's the number one choice for back pain? Chiropractic care. Chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. Most effective and least expensive. Why wouldn't you do that first? If it doesn't work, you could always do what we call escalation of treatment. Go to medications, go to injections, go to surgery. I have so many surgeons, I can't tell you. Surgeons will send me cases and say, Joe, see if you can fix this guy before we cut into him. He's high risk, he's got high blood pressure, he's got diabetes. I can't operate on him anyway. See what you can do with him. And in many cases, we get them better. Chiropractic, nutrition, work on their digestive system. If we can't, at least we get them healthy enough so they can have the surgery. Why wouldn't you do that? It's an absolute no-brainer when it comes to your health. And the same thing goes for your digestive system. Sometimes your stomach is pushing up against your diaphragm, and we can physically pull or relax the stomach away from the diaphragm, and it solves the problem. Let's try that first. If it doesn't work, we can always do surgery and drugs. Let's try nutrition first. Let's change your diet. Let's get kids off these antibiotics and steroids and chemicals and heavy metals, and adults, and get them on some better food. And let's see what happens. It's never not worked. But why not try it first? Why not try and give the body the nutrients that it needs? I always say the minimum supplements people should take are Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They taste great. I mix them up with some coconut milk. If you want to change it up, add some frozen bananas, some frozen berries. I like the mint Super Greens as opposed to the plain. It's a little sweeter. And that's the minimum supplements. Vitamin D will cost you pennies a day, literally pennies a day to take vitamin D3 with K2. And it does hundreds of different things, including help build bone mass, immunity, helps the immune system work more efficiently. pennies a day. And if you did all the supplements I recommend, if I did a whole workup on you, I usually recommend, I try not to do more than 6 supplements at a time. If you did all the supplements I recommend, it's still cheaper than the coffee you're spending at the fancy coffee shop. And there's benefit to it, and you get energy from it. Doesn't taste as sweet as whipped cream on top of sugar on top of high fructose corn syrup. So it's less expensive. It's more effective. It's easy to do. Very low risk, very high reward. Why wouldn't you do these things? And that's what concerns me with fast food. Chicken sandwich found to contain this one anti-parasitic drug, and it can cause infertility in certain poultry such as pigeons and geese. In fact, it's used to control geese and pigeon populations. And it's in a very, very famous chicken sandwich that you all have probably eaten at some point in your life. Now, in chickens, it's used to control certain type of infection and also fatten them up. Side effects include sensitivity to heat, degenerative processes in the liver, kidneys, and even death. And it's a very, very popular chicken chain. Now, why would that be? Because they have to sell a lot of chicken, and they want to keep the cost down. And it's very cheap to feed these chickens toxic chemicals to try to get them as big as we can, as fast as we can. When I was a kid, it used to take about 8 months to get a chicken big enough to be slaughtered and eaten. Now it takes about 8 weeks. In most cases, not always, but most cases. And what's happening is we're feeding these chickens chemicals and hormones, sometimes heavy metals like arsenic, to get them to weigh more and get big. Well, one of the problems is these chickens can grow so big so fast that their own legs can't support them. So their legs collapse underneath them. As long as they're alive, we can kill them. I know it's kind of funny. Now, if you're going to eat animal products, meat, butter, cheese, yogurt, eggs, ice cream, I'm going to recommend organic only. And the reason is you're going to avoid a lot of these other toxic chemicals. Now, what you eat is always up to you. I cannot tell you what to eat. I can give you information, and what you do with that information is up to you. But school lunches, and this worries me, I'm frightened for your children, as the Moody Blues once said, hormones, veterinary drugs, pesticides, heavy metals, and nutritional content is extremely low. I went to a conference last weekend, and I wasn't one of the speakers. I was actually attending, but I would say 40 or 50 of the attendees, now this is chiropractors, orthopedists, neurologists, neurosurgeons, physical therapists, came up to me individually and said, "Hey, Joe, got a question for you." And they asked me, most of them were personal questions. What about my digestive system? What about my swollen legs? What about my back pain? What about my sciatica? What about my headaches? And I thought, this is interesting. This is a group of the elite doctors in the Atlanta area. And probably half of them came up to me with questions about their health. So lunch comes around. And lunch is some type of meat. It was white meat. I don't know. I don't eat meat. On a piece of bread with 2 pieces of tomato and a piece of lettuce, an apple, cookie, chips, and they had soda available. They also had water. But I thought, this is kind of ironic that all these doctors are coming up to me, asking me about their health, and yet they're eating I don't know what white meat is, turkey maybe, sandwiches. And I kind of smiled, and I thought, this is ironic. They're asking me for questions, and then they're eating all this junk. But school lunches really scare me. 95% of school lunches had detectable levels of something called glyphosate. Glyphosate is a weed killer that can lead to metabolic disorders, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Now, if you watch TV, you've seen these commercials. Have you been exposed to this weed killer? I won't say the name. If you have, call the lawyer. You might be eligible for settlement. And they're huge. They put billions of dollars aside, and yet they still sell it on the market today. So your kids are eating this stuff. So what do? Go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in, "So what can I eat?" And that's going to be a good guide to help you what to eat. First book I ever wrote is called Eating Right for the Health of It. It's a guide on what to eat. And it has over 200 recipes in it. So really start considering making some changes in your life. Even if you just do 80% of your life good and 10 or 20% not so good, that's an option. If you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, numbness, tingling, headaches, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment directly through our website. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for you, my listeners, to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on your follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. It doesn't include lab work. It doesn't include blood work. It's exam, x-rays, and evaluation and nutrition evaluation. So if you want to make an appointment, just go to drjoe.com. I would love to be your doctor. I would love to have that opportunity to work with you to get the nervous system working, get the digestive system working, do a nutrition evaluation, and let's find out what's going on with you. And we'll give you ideas on what to eat. Again, go to my website and type in, so what can I eat? There's a ton of ideas right there. I understand fast food is fun. I understand it's cheap. I understand it tastes good. But you can make better choices. And that's what I want to talk to you about, the better choices. Because a lot of the chemicals in here are doing damage to your body. The highest level of glyphosate was found in a beef taco with a soft wheat tortilla. Because the beef are fed usually corn and soy, which is sprayed with glyphosate. And then the wheat is also sprayed with glyphosate, the wheat tortilla. And why do we spray wheat with glyphosate? It's a weed killer. It kills the wheat right before it's harvested, so it's easier to harvest. And so that's another reason why I don't recommend you eat wheat. But if you do eat wheat, I want you to do organic. I don't recommend you eat animal products. But if you do, do organic. Better choices would be beans. So you can do a bean burrito. Not the best choice, but a better choice. You can do bean tacos. You can do burrito bowls. A lot of these taco places, a bowl would be great. I won't give you names, but there's several of them around. And it's still within a reasonable price, too. You can get a meal for $10 or $11, maybe $12. I went to lunch with a friend of mine the other day, and my friend Steve, and I said, hey, listen, man, I'll pay. And it was an Indian buffet, a vegetarian Indian buffet. No meat at all, okay? $20, $22 each, $44 before tip. And I went, wow, that's a chunk of change right there, man. So I spent almost $50 for lunch. It's getting a little crazy. And so you can make better choices. Have a salad. Have a bean burrito. Have a veggie sub. Instead of having meat on your sub, have a veggie sub. Have a veggie sandwich. There's a lot of great sandwich places around, and you can do just vegetables. They still make a good profit on it. Still a high margin. And you're eating a better choice. May not be the best choice. It's a better choice. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to just make the better choice. And that's what I say about back pain. Make the better choice. Chiropractic care. Makes sense. If chiropractic care isn't the answer, we can always do injections. We can always do surgery. If supplements aren't what you need and diet isn't what you need, I should take that back. Everyone benefits from changing their diet and adding better foods. And supplements to me are not even a luxury. They're a necessity. I would say, okay, what can I cut out of my budget to get supplements? And supplements are so darn cheap, it's ridiculous. Way cheaper than a fancy coffee, way cheaper than a chicken sandwich. And you're going to get so many benefits from it. But I'm concerned because fast food is getting out of control pricing, and it's not good. My favorite cuisine is Ethiopian food. I know that sounds strange. My favorite cuisine. And you can get a veggie platter in any Ethiopian restaurant. It's enough for two people. So two people can eat for $20 as opposed to one person eating for $20 everywhere else. So I love Ethiopian food. Salad places are great. They're still relatively inexpensive. So here's the catch. The healthier food is the cheaper food. Less toxic, less pesticides, more nutrients. Coming up in the next segment, I'm going to talk about the nutritional deficiencies that occur if you're going to be eating fast food. So it's not only they're high in heavy metals and pesticides and hormones and antibiotics, they're also low in nutrition. If they were high in nutrition, I'd say, all right, well, you know what? I'll cut you a deal on this. But that's why you add supplements to your diet. Because even if you're eating a great diet, and I eat a great diet, I want to make sure I'm getting all the nutrients that I need. And that's one of the secrets to staying young. It really is. It's not hard to figure this whole thing out, how to play this game, give the body the nutrients that it needs, and it's going to last a lot longer with a lot less problems. If I go to the doctor, they always say, what medications you're on at your age? I said, none. And they said, no, like blood pressure, diabetes, none. I don't take any medication. And they don't understand that. When I donate blood, my blood comes out twice as fast as everybody else's because it's healthy and it flows smoothly. It's not clogged up. Got to go to break, folks. If you have any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can make an appointment to come see us, drjoe.com. Follow me on social media, Dr. Joe Esposito. I want to be your doctor. I want to help get you well and keep you well. We'll be right back. All right. A lot of ranting on that one. Yeah. John, you have questions for me? My nose itches. I notice when I answer questions, my nose itches. Why is that? I don't know what it is. I watch the videos afterwards, and I'm always itching my nose. I don't know what it is. All right, go ahead.
Should I add MCTs to my coffee?
I think the coffee is the question we should be asking there. If you're going to do coffee, coffee is the most highly sprayed product in the world. Ironic for this talk today. It has fungicides on it because coffee grows fungus and chemicals. If you're going to drink coffee, organic only. Okay, that should be one of those things you just don't even negotiate on. Organic only. Organic decaf is better. I don't know why you'd want to. I know why you would add medium chain triglycerides to your coffee. If you want to do it, you can. I don't see a downside to it, but I don't think you need to. But if you want to, go ahead. But it's got to be organic, or else I won't negotiate with you. What else you got?
I've heard that although eggs have cholesterol, when you eat them, your body begins making less cholesterol. Is that true?
No. That's an easy one. No. There are many studies done. You take somebody's cholesterol, feed them eggs, the cholesterol goes up. Take them off the eggs, cholesterol goes down. So that's not true. If you're going to eat eggs, make sure they're organic because the chickens are fed chemicals and steroids and pesticides like we're talking about. So please do organic eggs if you're going to do them. Okay.
What do you recommend for morning body stiffness?
Chiropractic care. That's a real no-brainer right there. If you're stiff in the morning, your joints are locking up and you have to loosen up those joints, and that's chiropractic care. So that would be the best thing for you. Now, Super Green's an essential source, of course, would be great. Turmeric is a great anti-inflammatory. Nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels and increases circulation. All that's great. But if the bones are out of place, you still got to put the bones back in place. So Super Green, essential source, nitric oxide. B-complex would help as well to help with the nervous system. But you really just need to get the bones put back in place and the nutrition. So make an appointment to come see us.
How much will taking nitric oxide lower my blood pressure? I'm taking 25 milligrams and 2.5 milligrams blood pressure medication now.
I don't know that because everyone's different. Okay, what I'd say with the nitric oxide is take one pill. I have a bottle of it here. Took some before the show. Take one pill day one. See how you feel. Take 2 the next day, 3 the next day, and 4 the next day. I've had many, many people take this and come off their medication totally. Now, I cannot tell you to come off the medication. You have to have your medical doctor allow that. But start taking it and see what happens. Okay, I take 4 a day and I have normal blood pressure. But I take 4 a day. I feel great. It's great for circulation to your brain, your heart. Many, many men use this as a sexual aid for erectile dysfunction because it increases circulation to all the body. You can take it about an hour before engaging. And it can increase circulation to your body. So that kind of works real well too. But I don't know how many points it's going to be. You're going to have to just monitor your blood pressure. Now, do monitor your blood pressure because if it goes too low, you're going to have to either stop taking this or stop taking the medication. That's up to your doctor. But I think I know your answer. So, but I don't have an exact number for you. What else you got?
No more questions, but a couple comments have come in, including one of our listeners fasted for the first time in a very long time today because of your advice.
Excellent. Yeah, intermittent fasting is just it's the bomb, as was said a while ago. Yeah, you want to go at least 12 hours a day without eating. That's minimum. 14 hours good, 16 hours better. Now, you don't have to do it every day. If you do it 3-4 times a week, that's great. So what I do is I'll have a late lunch, and then if I don't have any dinner plans or anything, I'll just skip dinner, go to bed a little hungry, wake up a little hungry. But now if I had lunch at 3 or 4 o'clock, I can go till 7 o'clock. 12, that's 15, 16 hours right there. And boy, let me tell you, you feel great when you do intermittent fasting too. Except you're hungry, but it's all right. You actually start to like it. You start to like feeling hungry. It's kind of cool. But good for you. I'm proud of you. Other comments?
That is all.
Awesome. All right, let's do part 2. Let me see where I want to pick up. Okay. Sip my tea. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. If you're just joining us, welcome. If you stayed with us, I appreciate that. I know everybody's really busy. What we're talking about today is fast foods. And there's a Moody Blues song. It's a band, by the way, folks. And there's two members still alive, Justin Hayward and John Lodge. And one of the lines from the song is, "I'm frightened for your children." And then it goes on, "Life that we are living is a vain, and the sunshine we've been waiting for has turned to rain." But the line, "I'm frightened for your children," I'm really frightened for the Gen Zers and whatever, the Gen A's now, whatever they are. I'm really scared because they grew up on so many toxic habits. Electromagnetic frequencies from Wi-Fi. We didn't have Wi-Fi when we were a kid. Phones, electromagnetic frequencies. Somebody at the radio station the other day asked me about that. And I said, you can go on your phone and get a Gauss meter, Gauss, and it's a free app. And download a Gauss meter and just walk around your house. And the Gauss meter will go off when the electromagnetic frequency goes up. Now, I don't have this app. I have nothing to do with these apps. There's a bunch of them. And just monitor that, and you'll be amazed when you start going toward your Wi-Fi router. The thing goes off like crazy. I take my cell phone and put it on the other side of the bedroom at night, so the alarm has to wake me up and get me out of bed, but also it's not right next to my head every day. And there's conflicting studies that some say it's safe and some say it's not. Why not err on the side of caution? What if your cell phone up against your ear is dangerous? Okay, what if it's not? If it's not, so what? You used a wired headset. You use your speaker. That's fine. But the new generation, as soon as they're out of the womb, they're playing with iPads and cell phones and Wi-Fi. We talk about the pesticides, the chemicals, the hormones in fast food. These kids are eating fast food every day sometimes with very low nutritional value. I'm going to cover that in just a second. So I'm really frightened for your children, and I'm frightened for us too. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed something. There are so many memory care centers popping up everywhere. It seems like every corner there's a memory care center. These are for people with Alzheimer's and dementia, and we put them in there and basically let them die because they don't get better, obviously. And why are they opening up? Because it costs about $10,000 to $15,000 a month to be in a decent one of these things. And you want mom to have the best, of course. So we're going to put her in this, going to drain all your finances. But worse than that, mom has dementia. If you ever dealt with somebody with dementia, it is scary, frightening. I used to date a gal, and her mother had dementia, and we'd go visit her in the home. And she wouldn't remember her own daughter. She certainly didn't remember me because I never met her until she had dementia. But I remember they had a dog there. And the dog, these people couldn't get enough of the dog. They just needed some stimulation. And just petting the dog was enough, some type of stimulation. And one time we went in and we brought a small child with us, a friend of ours, and they lost their minds. They were so excited to see a child, because all they have is old people waiting to die. I don't want that for my later years. So I'm frightened for my generation too, because we're the next generation to fill up these homes. A lot of us are already there. And you have control over what you put in your body. You can make better decisions. And as soon as you start making better decisions, the better off you're going to be. Do I have a cure for these things? No, I don't. But we know that the studies are very clear that if you're exposing yourself to steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, weed killers, the chances of you getting a health problem skyrocket. And why would you take that chance when you don't have to? Toxic pesticides in school meals, we talked about that before. 95% of school meals had detectable glyphosate in it. 9 of the 43 school lunches also contained 4 types of veterinary drugs and hormones. And this was the shocking part of this study done by Moms Across America. 100% of the meals contained heavy metals at levels up to 6,293 times higher than allowable levels. 6,293 times higher heavy metal content. Now, heavy metals are things like mercury, lead, cadmium. And what happens is when they get into the body, they essentially short circuit your body. It's like sticking a screwdriver into a wall socket. It's a little simplified version there. But we need 0 lead, 0 cadmium, 0 mercury. And some of them had up to 6,293 times the allowable level. And these kids are eating this stuff every single day. Why? It's cheap. It meets the guidelines, the standards. You got a protein and a fat. And it's frightening. The food pyramid, I don't know if you're old enough to remember the food pyramid. The food pyramid was basically who paid off the government or the people that put the food pyramid together, just paid them off and said, this is what I want. Okay, we'll do it. No problem. What consequences did that have? How many people had premature death because they followed those guidelines? Now we know those guidelines are ridiculous. If you flip it over, then it's not so bad. But most of us, kids, adults, are going to be deficient in nutrition. We don't have enough nutrients to function at our optimum levels. When I was a kid, you had one guy in our class, and he was slow. That was it. We didn't have ADD and ADHD diagnoses. We didn't have emotional sensitivities. We had one or two people that were overweight. Everybody else was, good weights. And now it's kind of flipped. 50%, I saw one study, 50% of boys in grammar school are now can fit under the diagnosis of ADD. Something ain't right. That's no longer the average. Okay, they are the average. I'm sorry. That is the average. The average is if you're average if you have ADD. You're not average if you don't. Something's not right. Something's changed in the past couple of generations. And a lot of it, I feel, my opinion, has to do with what we're feeding these kids. And if you get in these heavy metals can get into the brain and short-circuit the body. Now, when I see somebody with ADD, ADHD, anxiety, depression, any of the emotional disorders, I always find there's an undiagnosed digestive problem to go with it. And I'm going to give you a little bit more on that in a second. But if your stomach breaks down proteins and digests proteins into something called amino acids. Now, the amino acid named tryptophan becomes serotonin in your brain, and serotonin helps you focus. Serotonin becomes melatonin, which helps you sleep, and melatonin also protects the cells in the mitochondria. That's a different lecture for another time. So if you can't digest your food properly, you got a problem. And these ADD kids, and I was one of them, by the way. We didn't have that diagnosis back then, but I was super hyper. But I was also one of the smartest kids in the class. Me and one other girl, Carol, won't say her last name in case she's listening, we were the smartest kids in grammar school. They always put us together in every group that we had because I was the smartest boy, she was the smartest girl. And same thing in high school. So I realized that I had a digestive problem probably about 5 years into my career. And my stomach was pushed up against my diaphragm. When I pulled my stomach away from the diaphragm, I had no stomach pain for the first time in my life. I always had some or more. I never had none. And I was able to digest my proteins to get the amino acids to produce the neurotransmitters so my brain could work. And so one of the things I find is that people with emotional issues oftentimes have a digestive problem. The other thing is they're deficient in nutrition. And one of the things that we're very deficient in, especially in our American fast food society, is B vitamins. B vitamins are so important for brain function, for metabolism. I can't burn off fat. Why? You have a slow metabolism. Well, you need B vitamins to make the whole cycle work. And so many of us are deficient in B vitamins, and many of us have a genetic flaw. It's called the MTHFR gene, where you can't methylate. You can't convert folate or folic acid into folate to methylfolate to make it a usable form. And so now you're lacking a B vitamin right there if you can't use it. And so many times I find with children, if we give them things like a methylated B complex, it helps calm them down. It helps them focus better. Is it the only thing? No. There's a lot more to it. But you got to fix the gut. Kids with ADD, as I go off a tangent here, a couple of things. They're usually pretty gassy. They either have bad breath or they have very bad gas. They're very ticklish. Because when you touch them here, they drop because the body is protecting their digestive system. The nervous system is saying, don't even touch me. I'm so sensitive. Many times they have bad breath because the food is rotten in their colon and their breath stinks. So they have bad gas, bad breath, bloating, and ticklish. And when you fix the digestive system, you pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, you get them on good nutrients like Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, B Complex. In many cases, not all, but many cases, the nervous system kind of resets itself. And they're able to function normally or better than they were. And so if we keep feeding kids fast food and school lunches with 6,293 times the maximum allowable levels of heavy metals and pesticides and veterinary drugs, they can't pay attention. They can't focus. It's impossible. It's like asking somebody who's paralyzed to run a marathon. Can't do it. And yet we keep saying, well, we have to talk to these kids. Yeah, we have to talk to them. We also have to give them the tools that they need chemically and physically in order to work. So the minimum supplements I would recommend for everybody across the board would be Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. I mix them together with coconut milk, almond milk, shake it up, and drink it first thing in the morning. If you want to zip up the flavor a little bit, you could add some frozen bananas, some frozen berries, make a smoothie out of it. I then add 1 dropper full of Dr. Joe's vitamin D3 with K2 because most of us are deficient in D3. I'm not out in the sun 20 minutes 3 or 4 times a week because that's not my lifestyle. And so vitamin D3 with K2 is so important. B-complex, so important. All of us need it because we pee out our B vitamins every day. You need to replace them. So Super Green Essential Source, vitamin D, and B-complex, absolutely, positively, just to try to make up for the deficiency that we find in our fast food, our school lunches, and a lot of restaurant food, too. Veterinary drug analysis on 10 fast foods. Mothers across America, they tested 21 fast food brands for essential minerals and the top 10 brands for B vitamins. Bottom line. Testing was conducted out of concern for America's skyrocketing mental and physical health crisis. 85 million Americans eat fast food every day. Fast food companies often supply a significant portion of the 30 million school lunches served to our children every day. And they have fundraisers, and they sell fast food. And they have sporting events, and they have fast food. The quality of the food, including contamination from agrochemicals or chemicals in agriculture, and lack of nutrients due to toxic chemical inputs, contributes to our mental and physical health issues. 1 in 5 Americans have a mental issue, and 54% of our children have chronic health issues. 54% of children have chronic health issues. If you don't have a chronic health issue, you're in the minority. That's a scary way to look at it. So for many impoverished children, school meals are the only food they consume every day. This is their main source of I was going to say nutrition, food intake. Numerous studies have linked toxins in food supply to lack of nutrition in conditions like autism, depression, aggression, suicide, and homicides. Now, this report will disclose the mineral, B vitamin, and calorie levels of the 20 fast food restaurants and what they supply. So let's look at some nutrients that are deficient in the standard of children's diets. Based on a micronutrient test done on school lunches in 2022, you can probably guess that this nutritional test revealed that there's mineral deficiencies in a lot of foods. For example, copper. Copper, you need 900 micrograms per day. If you ate chicken nuggets, they contain 1.4 micrograms of copper a day. Now, how many kids eat chicken nuggets every day? Sometimes it's their only meal. To meet the recommended daily allowance for copper alone, an adult would have to consume nearly 9 servings of chicken nuggets. Who's going to eat 9 servings of chicken nuggets just for one nutrient? Not counting the polyunsaturated fats, the wheat, which is probably sprayed with glyphosate, the chemicals that were fed to the chicken, just to get a little bit of copper. Doesn't make sense. Excuse me. Signs of copper deficiency include fatigue, poor concentration, and low mood. Children with autism and violent behavior often have an abundant imbalance of copper because you need copper and you need to balance it with vitamin C, and that's a whole nother lecture I'm not going to go into today. But even worse, 0 amounts of vitamin B9 or B12 were detected in the top 10 fast food samples, and deficiencies of these B vitamins can lead to fatigue, digestive problems, heart problems, nervous system disorders, erratic behavior, and B12, known as the energy vitamin, is lacking in their diet. That's why I believe everyone should take a B complex every day. Now, you can get your B vitamins tested, and if the levels are normal and you don't take a B vitamin, that's great. I personally take a B complex every day. I take Super Greens and Essential Source and a B complex and vitamin D every single day. And I think you should too. Now, all these supplements are on our website, drjoe.com. It's in the store section. And the reason they're there is because after 40 years of research, I said, I've got to get these supplements available to people, the most common ones. And we have 18, I think, supplements on our website. And these are the most common supplements that people have deficiencies in. One of my favorites is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation to your heart, your brain, your sex organs, It can help lower blood pressure, and it does a bunch of other things. I'll be doing a little snippet on that very shortly on the benefits of nitric oxide. It's way more than just lowering blood pressure. But a lot of men use my nitric oxide if they have issues in the romance department. And they'll take capsules, as long as you have normal or high blood pressure. Don't take it if you have low blood pressure. And they'll take it about an hour before intimacy, and they see a surge of blood supply. And so sometimes that's all it is a nitric oxide deficiency. So we also want to check the nerve supply in the low back. Now, gentlemen, if you have ED, let me go off on a tangent here for a second. Go to my website, drjoe.com, and type the letters ED in the search bar. And you'll have a little quiz pop up. Take that quiz and send it to me. It comes to me personally. And if I think this is something we might be able to help, I'll set you up a free consultation to come talk to us. I don't treat ED. We treat the causes of these problems. Is it a pinched nerve? Is it a nutrient deficiency? We give you home therapies to do. Is it a nitric oxide problem? And we try to get to the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptoms. I don't treat any disease. I treat the causes of the problems. So if you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, whether it's for ED, or if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches, numbness, tingling, sciatica, car accidents, work injuries, folks, go to my website, drjoe.com. Book an appointment right now. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. I want to be your doctor. I want to help get you well and keep you well, hopefully without drugs and surgery. If you need drugs and surgery, great. But hopefully we can do it without drugs and surgery. So if you want to make an appointment, I think you should. Normally the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for you, my listeners, to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment on your first visit, going over the x-rays on your follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. X-rays alone are going to cost you more than that. The nutrition consultation is probably going to cost you more than that in most places. The reason we do this is I want to determine what's going to be the best course of treatment for you, in my opinion. I can give you the advice. What you do with that advice is totally up to you. 95+% of the patients jump right into treatment because they realize this is what I need to do. Some patients I have to refer out. You're not a case for us. You're not a chiropractic nutrition case. I refer you out to doctors that I would go to personally if I had these problems. Had somebody come in today and they asked me about a surgeon. I said, well, I would refer you to this doctor. This is the one I would go to. I don't know this surgeon. This is who I would go to. So I'd love to be your doctor. So go to my website, drjoe.com. Make an appointment. We accept most insurances. It depends on what your coverage is. Medicare, VA, if the VA refers you to us, they pay for it. I teach other doctors and lawyers about car accidents on yearly. You're going to get phone calls if you're in a car accident from scammers. I promise you. Go see this doctor. Go see this lawyer. It's a scam. It's illegal. It's a felony if they call you for that. And I've never seen anyone go to these scam doctors or lawyers and get the service that they deserve. They always get scammed. So scammers deal with scammers. They're not going to give you honest care. So make an appointment, drjoe.com. So a woman, let's go back to these deficiencies in nutrients and B vitamins. Neurological dysfunction. Deficiencies in B vitamins can become cumulative over time and lead to mental health symptoms, irritability, depression, dementia, and even psychosis. We learn more about vitamin B12 and mental health every day. And B vitamins are just so important. And that's why you should take them every day. And make sure they're in a methylated form. Don't go to these big box stores and get the cheap version. They're not methylated. 44% of you can't use that form anyway. And you don't know you can't use it until you have a genetic test, which costs about $600. Warning signs of B12 deficiency: brain fog, mental lapses, mood swings, apathy, fatigue, muscle weakness, tingling in the extremities. B12 deficiency may not present itself for many years. So you can have start the deficiency, you're not going to see symptoms for many years later. And that's why when patients come to us and they have radiating pain, they have numbness, they have fatigue, let's say, let's get you on some B complex and let's see what happens. Not just B12, but the whole complex. A woman would need to consume 333 servings of this one type of chicken sandwich, and a man would have to consume 380 servings to meet the basic needs for just one B vitamin, and that would be niacin. 380 servings just to get enough niacin. And this is what a lot of people eat every day. I have a friend of mine, he's got prostate cancer, and he eats chicken sandwiches every day. That's his really, no fruit, no vegetables, and pizza, and meat sandwiches. And that's it. That's his whole diet. He's got prostate cancer. how can we expect the prostate to even have a snowball's chance in hell of healing if you're giving it that as your entire diet? And this is a grown man. It's a man in his 50s. So, yeah, we're spending a lot of money and not getting a lot of results. On average, adults would need to consume 64 to 73 servings of the top 10 fast foods to get proper B3. Alternatively, a portion of liver and a can of tuna can supply nutrients. I don't recommend you eat liver and tuna. But if it's a quality food, it's going to be better. So clearly, cheap food is not as cheap as it seems. One of the factors is your health. And that's what we're finding. It's very expensive to eat cheap food. It's very expensive not to take care of yourself. And I've been in practice a long time. And people come to me all the time and they say, Dr. Joe, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't somebody tell me the importance of getting supplements in my diet, the importance of chiropractic care for back pain, the importance of getting the stomach adjusted and pulled away from the diaphragm when I have digestive issues? And my answer, sadly, is I don't know. I know that when I go to a conference and doctors, famous doctors, line up and ask me questions about themselves, their wives, their kids, that they're not trained in this. And that's okay. I'm not trained in surgery. If you need back surgery, I don't know how to do that. I send you to a neurosurgeon or an orthopedic surgeon. But when it comes to getting well and staying well, my team of doctors and I are really good at that. And one of the reasons that our offices are so good at it is I'm the patient. I'm a patient at my office, and I want to make sure I'm getting the best care possible. I posted the other day, one of my posts, we post every day on social media, and somebody said, you must read an awful lot. I said, you have no idea. I research every day. There's not a day that goes by. I don't care if I'm on vacation. I don't care if I have the flu. I'm researching every day because I want to find out what's the best treatment for me. So if you want the truth, I'm doing this selfishly. I want to know what's going to be the best treatment for me. Oh, and by the way, I'll share that with you too. You don't have the time or the skills to do what I do, and you don't have to. I don't have the skills to fix a car. I don't have to. So that's why I want to get your body fixed. I want to check the nervous system. I want to check digestive system. I want to check the diet. I want to talk about supplementation. Let's get to the cause of your healthcare problems. Supplements are not a luxury. They're a necessity if your goal is to obtain and maintain good health. You can't do it otherwise. Avoiding certain foods. A lot of health is not even eating something. It's not eating something. Avoiding things. I gave a talk the other day to a law firm, and one of the paralegals came up to me afterwards. She was talking about her health problems and skin problems and digestive problems. And I said, try this. Give up wheat and dairy for 1 week. See how you feel. Well, I eat cheese sandwiches every day. See how you feel. A couple of days later, her boss ran into me at an event. He says, she's about 80% better after 2 days of giving up wheat and dairy. He says, what'd you do to her? I said, I didn't do anything. I told her not to do stuff. Folks, I'm almost out of time. If you have any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Make an appointment to come see us. It's really going to be the best thing we can do, drjoe.com. Follow me on social media, Dr. Joe Esposito. Just look me up. And I want to be your doctor. I want to give you the best advice that I know to help get you well and keep you well. All the supplements we talked about, Super Greens, Essential Source, Nitric Oxide, B-Complex, Men's Hormone Support, all of those are on the website, drjoe.com in the store section. Now, we ship usually the same day or the next day. I can't imagine why you're not making a very small investment for a huge rate of return when it comes to your health. So make an appointment to come see us, drjoe.com. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. All right. That's a big rant again. 2 weeks in a row I've been ranting. What do you got, John?
Are pasture eggs better than organic eggs? I usually buy pasteurized.
No, pastured. Organic is the best. Organic is pastured. Pastured is not always organic. So organic is the one word you're looking for on your eggs, if you eat eggs.
How can I help my mom's hand, which has started to become crooked at age 82? She doesn't have any RA or diagnosis and is pretty healthy otherwise.
Well, if she doesn't have rheumatoid arthritis, she could have osteoarthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. Osteoarthritis is the joints just wearing out. So adjusting them very gently, we're not going to crack her hand. And we also have a machine called an acoustic wave therapy that sends really fast impulses into the joints and breaks up scar tissue and increases circulation. Cold laser can also stimulate the mitochondria in the cell. That might work. and I would check the nerves from her neck that go into her hand, because you have to pinch nerve in her neck. Her hand can be spasming up. We may have to unpinch the nerve in the neck to get the hand talking to the brain again. So it sounds like she needs to come see us. This isn't like, hey, take this pill and it goes away. It sounds like she needs a physical evaluation. So go to my website, drjoe.com. We'll set her up an appointment.
How do I clear out plaque from my arteries?
Change your diet. When I went to school, we were taught that plaque in the arteries, heart disease, was forever, nothing you can do about it. Then some great researchers came along, Dr. McDougall, Dr. Esselstyn, and they found out that in many cases, not all, but many cases, heart disease was reversible. And they did the research, and they found that when you go to a plant-based diet, basically what I've been teaching you for the past 40 years, many times the body cleans out the arteries. And I've seen this happen multiple times in my career, because we can take an x-ray, we'll see plaque in the arteries sometimes, and I'll put people on the protocol, and 6 months later, we'll take another x-ray, it looks better. And this was way back when I first started my career. Now we have body scans you can do. There's one place, Virtual Imaging, I have no working relationship with them, but there's other places that can do full body scans to check for your calcium score. So if you go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition and listen to that, and then type in So What Can I Eat and listen to that, and then go to my website and type in cholesterol and listen to the show we did on cholesterol, because the plaque is made up of cholesterol, and do what I say. Here's the thing. What if I'm wrong? So what? I'm wrong. You got the plaque. It ain't getting worse unless you keep doing what you're doing. You ate well for a couple of months. You did good. I lied to you. Go back to the way you used to eat. If I'm right, which I am, then you can say, that's all it took? Yeah. But McDougall, Esselstyn, those are 2 researchers. Sinatra, unfortunately, he's dead now. He's a he's a cardiologist. They've done a lot of the research on reversing coronary heart disease with a plant-based diet. So the answer's there. You just have to do it.
Does drinking large amounts of water in a short period of time raise your blood pressure?
I've never heard that. I don't think so. I've never heard it or tried it, but I don't think it would. It might increase your blood volume. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that answer, but I don't think so. It should be fine. So, and if it does, you're going to pee it out in an hour or 2, and it's going to be fine. So,
can I mix Dr. Joe's Essential Source with coconut milk and almond milk?
yes, I do it every morning. Essential Source and Super Greens I do, and then I add my vitamin D, my dropper full of vitamin D, and I take my handful of supplements, and so far so good, man. My age, I'm kicking butt and still running circles around a 20-year-old, so if it didn't work, I'd eat meatball sandwiches, believe me. So, what else you got?
That is all.
You guys are great. Please follow me on all social media platforms. Whatever you're on, go to the other ones. I love answering your questions, but I need you to give me a little something in return. Just follow me on social media. Any questions, drjoe.com. Talk to you next time.